is also here and has a question for you.
Hi, I have a two-part question. So the first part of my question is if you could walk us through that decision of not digging up the soil and just rebuilding the train tracks over it. And second, it's been roughly 3 weeks. What new safety measures do you have in place since then, regardless of the investigation that's going on? Clearly, there are some things that need to change. And if you haven't come up with them yet, when can we expect to hear from them? Because this isn't the first. This won't be the last. People need to see change in a big way. And yeah, those are my questions.
Yes, ma'am. We believe that we had an environmentally sound remediation plan for the soil under the tracks. However, as I noted, as I continue to engage with members of East Palestine in one-on-one meetings and small group meetings.
Can I interrupt you? What made you believe that that was an okay resolution? That's what I'm looking for. Like, what goes into that decision?
Yes. Our independent environmental experts. So as I have engaged with,
when you dump 100,000 gallons of chemicals and
oil.
And oil.
You're not talking about the oil.
60,000 gallons of oil. When you dump that into the ground and you don't take that out of the ground before you put your tracks on and you run your train on it.
You need to hire some new
That's an okay
experts.
decision. The oil.
Ma'am.
The oil is going to cause us the long-term effects. Everybody's talking about the chemicals, and while I do think that's important, it's the oil that's seeping into our ground that you chose not to dig up and just put your tracks right over top of it. She's asking you specifically.
Dude, this is pretty sick. Oh, it's like you always say about the power white women have. Yeah. No, this is pretty fucking fire. Like, having a CEO wearing his fucking Patagonia fit, like this is his casual fit, you know what I mean? Have to sit there and listen to like some of the victims. Goddamn, it's cool. I love that, dude. You don't see that every day. I'm a fan of what's going on in front of me right now. I mean, it should be way more than that. Like, jail could be fun. You know what I mean? Like, that could be cool. Like, legal repercussions. I like stuff like that. Big fan of legal repercussions. But, you know, it's not going to happen. So this is what we got in the process. This is what we got instead. And I'm on board with it. I like it.
The ground before you put your tracks on and you run your train on it.
You need to hire some new
That's an okay
experts.
decision. The oil.
Ma'am.
The oil is going to cause us the long-term effects. Everybody's talking about the chemicals, and while I do think that's important, it's the oil that's seeping into our ground that you chose not to dig up and just put your tracks right over top of it. She's asking you specifically, what led you to that decision?
Ma'am, we've made a lot of progress.
He has a "Are you done?" ass face right now too, like the "Are you done now? Are you done?" Okay, let me tell you what happened.
We've dug up 4,600 cubic yards of soil and collected 1.7 million gallons of water. We will continue with environmental remediation, and in early March we will start by tearing up the tracks and digging up the soil underneath the tracks.
I wonder why he's not there in person. You're right, Megaphon. It's a good question. It'd be nice if he was there in person. It'd be even better.
6 weeks, oil's going to be soaking into our soil.
So until...
By the way, this is like the least sociopathic CEO, okay? This is a CEO trying to, you know, to defeat the lizard allegations right now. This is him trying. He cranked up his like sympathy dial and maxed out on it, and this is all you're gonna get. Like why do I have to talk to you fucking peasants? ugh, I hate that I have to do this. Oh my God. Like, we fucking poison towns that are larger than East Palestine and forget about it. I've forgotten more fucking rural towns that I've poisoned than I have to think about. And you're over here fucking questioning me? How dare you question my authority? You don't understand how fucking difficult business is, okay? You don't know what it's like when you have to take $7 billion, $7.5 billion and repurpose them for stock buybacks. You don't know what that's like, okay? You don't know what it's like to be in my shoes.
Well, then we'll just have it keep going down.
Keep going in our soils.
Jenna, did you get all your questions answered?
No, I did specifically ask what changes you've already made, and I think these residents also are very valid in asking, like, why the delay? Why can't we do it tomorrow?
Yeah, Janice, thank you for that. I didn't get it.
It's
I
Jenna.
didn't get to
Just-
respond to that.
it's Jenna.
Yeah, we're gonna. My apologies.
Bro, we should let CEOs do this kind of PR shit more often, dude. They're fucking... The more Americans understand what soulless husks these motherfuckers are, the better. Oh, man, I love this. Oh, this is so good. Ooh, it's so fucking good.
We're gonna test and we're gonna calibrate all of the wayside detectors all across our system. That's something that we stood up in the immediate aftermath of this.
And is that something that's visible for people to see? Is it publicly available for us to see that that's being done?
It's an internal component to Norfolk Southern.
Don't you think people
we're
would
gonna
want to
do
see
it.
that happening? Wouldn't that show that you're trying to do something different if you're actively showing people this?
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't give a shit. He don't give a shit. He's the CEO of Norfolk Southern. Man's code switching with his wardrobe. He still looks like an out-of-touch CEO. Black fleece vest. Need I say more? Yes, this is his casual look. Don't you love that? Like, this is... Every part of this is, like, predetermined and manicured, okay? And this is the best he's got. Yeah, he's looking like a Kelly Loeffler campaign ad. Exactly. And he's still not doing it. He can't.
We can certainly take videos of that and post it.
It
What
didn't
we
cross
have
your
done
mind
is
that
we
would be a
stood up a
positive thing?
website. What we have done, based on feedback that we've gotten from the citizens, is we stood up a website, nsmakingitright.com, and we're providing updates every day on the environmental remediation. We're providing updates every day on the financial assistance for the community.
Mr. Shaw, one of the questions that Jenna asked that you didn't answer had to do with the fact that obviously whatever Norfolk Southern was doing almost 3 weeks ago wasn't sufficient in terms of safety. And her question was basically, you don't need to wait for the federal government or Governor DeWine to tell you to improve things. For example, if it's true, as Senator J.D. Vance notes, having 2 staffers and a trainee on a 150-car train would not seem sufficient in the view of Republican Governor Vance. So her question is, Senator Vance, her question is, what are you asking your team to do now to change it before the government makes you change it? Because you are in charge of the company. You can...
Why the fuck would they change anything before the government makes them change it, dude? Come on now. That's the entire point and purpose of the regulatory body. Because these motherfuckers never do anything out of the kindness of their hearts. If anything, this is actually... This kind of like, capitalism being like overall indecent is baked into the narrative, even a narrative that libertarians understand, right? Because libertarians, what do they always say? They're like, oh, you don't need a regulatory agency. What you need is a Yelp review system to basically like fucking yell at corporations and the free market will kick in. And it's like, that still comes with an understanding that like corporations are going to cut corners regardless. And the only thing, something needs to stop them from doing that. And it's never going to be their own personal willingness to not cut corners, right? It's the consumers that will stop them from cutting corners, which is laughable. It's silly. It's stupid. But even then, they still recognize that corporations are going to cut fucking corners. They're going to cut corners with whatever the fuck they can get away with. You know what I mean? So it still happens. It still happens even in the libertarian solution. They still operate with an understanding that corporations are going to push for deregulation. They're going to get away with whatever the fuck they can.
Make those changes. And yes, if you spend $1 billion on safety, that's great. Of course, your profits are in the multi-billion dollars every year.
Yeah, we're also advancing technology on our locomotives to inspect the tracks as our trains run over the tracks. We're looking for the results from the NTSB, the investigation, to find the root cause of this, which is one of the reasons that we're cooperating fully with the NTSB and the FRA. We'll learn from this. What we had in place didn't work here. We're going to figure this out, and we're going to make the investments to make Norfolk Southern safer.
I want to bring in Jim Stewart, who has a question for you, sir.
Yeah, a lot of this that I have to ask has been answered already. But I'm speaking on the aspect that the people of East Palestine, are just being treated like dummies. We're not dummies. We're smart people. Listen to these people, what they have found out about different things and everything else. I'm angry. I'm angry about this. I've lived in East Palestine for 65 years now. That's my home. My grandmother came from Germany. She lived in Palestine. My dad grew up there.
What?
My family's grown up there now. And it is disgusting that we're just lost it. I live in a house that's probably the closest of any of these, and it's a shame. And this is probably the next closest one. And our house is, it's been inspected, it's been this, it's been that. I'm afraid to put my dog out just to pee. I mean, he's only on this tall. So, I don't feel safe in this town now. You took it away from me. You took us away from this. You seem like a sincere man. I'm not calling you names. I'm not, but your company stinks. Because
I mean, his job is literally to stink up the place, for the record. Like, if there's one, I'm never an advocate for like a singular individual being held responsible for any kind of thing. But if you want to look for a person to blame, like, this guy pretty much is the guy. You know what I mean? Like, that's the guy for sure. Like, this wasn't like, things got out of hand and people, mid-level managers decided to take actions that, that were completely outside of the control of, like, people in higher levels of power, in higher positions of power. Like, this is the guy who pretty much is telling the mid-level managers to do exactly the things he wants to do. You know what I mean?
they're not watching what's
How
going
is this
on.
lib shit? What? I didn't
Workers
say
don't
that.
pay attention nowadays. Supervisors make workers work. You got to do something about this. I lost a lot. I lost the value of my home. I'm only one block. I can throw a stone to that burner. And what do we do now? I come back from Chicago 4 days. I was in Chicago for 4 days. I came home the other day. I put the garage door up. We pulled in the garage.
Yes, chat. He's blaming workers. This is a 65-year-old man, okay? He's a 65-year-old man. He literally said, I'm not a dummy. You seem like a sincere guy. It doesn't matter, though. He doesn't deserve this happening to him, okay? He's a 65-year-old in Ohio. What the fuck do you think his worldview is? Calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? Stop getting annoyed at a victim, okay?
Got out of the car, put the garage down.
His entire worldview revolves around literally fucking looking up to guys like this. You know, thinking that the CEOs are sincere and thinking that the workers probably fucked it up. Okay? That's his worldview. Examine why that worldview exists and develop a better understanding of the systems that educate people, that churn millions of people like that out. And also recognize that, you know, just because he has a different political perspective than you do doesn't change the reality that he's still a fucking victim. Yeah, a lot of the people, I don't know what East Palestine's like voting demographics look like. I don't know what they fucking voted for. But I mean, it's Ohio, so it's not shocking to me that it would be like deep red. So these people did technically vote for the very deregulation that they ended up, receiving the brunt, receiving the consequences of. But ultimately, even if they didn't fucking vote for the Republican Party, it doesn't matter. It's like people that vote for Democrats are getting poisoned. Does that make it? Does that make these people less victims? No. There's no you reap what you sow when we talk about. There is no you reap what you sow when we talk about these kinds of issues. We live in a bourgeois. We live in a capitalist organization of the economy. This is a bourgeois government. Both the Democrats and the Republicans, as I tell you all the fucking time, are still going to poison you, okay? They're still going to advocate for either slight deregulation or heavy deregulation, okay? And most of the time, these people are just powerless. Like, they're just playing the role of, they're just playing the role just as you are, okay? Going through the motions, you know, doing their civic duty, voting for one party over the other, okay? You will not come across as understanding if you look at a 65-year-old man who is naturally fearful that, like, his house is fucked now, okay? Like, by being like, well, you voted for it. You know what I mean? It's fucking bullshit. Use it as an opportunity, be sympathetic, and use it as an opportunity to explain to people, like, look, listen, you know, Democrats are bad too, but this is a consequence of deregulation. And that knows no boundaries. That knows no political ideology. That is a capitalist attitude. I hate that, like, oh, red states deserve it mentality. Ohio voted for Trump. Trump removed safety regulations on trains. Sounds like Ohio got exactly what it voted for, but that's none of my business. Shit like this kills me. Only half of Ohio voted for Trump, and no, even that half does not deserve to be poisoned because of the excessive greed of railroad companies. Exactly. In a lot of instances, that shit's racist as fuck too, especially when people talk about the South and how shitty it is. I mean, you know I talk about how fucking shitty the South is all the time, but, you know, I offer that perspective on every state. I think every American state has a lot of shit qualities to it, okay? You know this already. You know. I don't do that whole, like, oh, please stop sending me that fucking Hasan underscore piker thread, please. Just, you don't deserve a week off, but, like, just, goddamn, dude. Just shut the fuck up. Yeah, I got it. Oh, there. You want to know the soy-ass fucking Reddit meme that this guy keeps sending? Hold on, I'll show you. Hold on, here. You want to know? This is the fucking, just stop being so fucking soy and so Reddit for one day. Massive fucking coalition. Working class right, progressive left. Somehow you fucking keep spamming the same link, which is even cringier than fucking Megaphonics links. I don't give a fuck about the politics of individuals. Okay? I don't give a fuck about the politics of individuals. What is this? Bro, I know you got connections. Tell them to stop this now. Okay, shut the fuck up. I don't care about this right now. Okay? I always say this. When it comes to the liberation of the working class, it doesn't matter if someone is a fucking Democrat. It doesn't matter if someone is a Republican. Okay? When it comes to the emancipation of workers, there is no politics there other than class politics. okay? Unions are full of right-wing people. Why the fuck is that the case? It's like, who cares? It doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter. I literally sent a good link right before you said that. I fucking heavily doubt it. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah, you did the Ohio deserved it meme. Okay, that's the one good Megaphonics link for the day. The one good one. Here, there you go. I gave it to you. Unions are not about the Democratic Party. They're not about the Republican Party. Labor unions are about collective bargaining. Okay? It's about what is fair. It's not about left or right. It's about what is fair. Okay? That's why they're not the end all be all. It's not the fucking solution. It's just the first step. Eugene Debs said it best. Eugene V. Debs, still posting. The capitalists are combined against you. They are reducing wages. They have control of control of the courts. They are doing everything they can to destroy your power. You have got to follow their example. You have got to unify your forces. Left or right matters in politics, though? No, it doesn't. It doesn't in America. And it doesn't in like developed Western neoliberal capitalist countries. I'm talking about something entirely different. You can be a right-wing piece of shit, but you still deserve not to have your fucking home destroyed. You can be the biggest right-wing piece of shit. Okay? There are certain concepts that, in my opinion, transcend the left-right political divide. This is something I talk about regularly. Okay? Like the idea when we talk about healthcare for all, it's not healthcare for, only the Democratic Party voters, okay? It's healthcare for everybody. How many times do I got to explain this? Like I say this all the time. Nazis also deserve healthcare, okay? Nazis also deserve public housing. If anything, if material problems are solved, it's going to be much harder for them to, become Nazis. That doesn't mean that, like, Nazis are becoming Nazis and fascists because of their conditions or whatever. But the goal overall is still to make it more difficult for people to want to become that way. Okay? Material restitution is actually how to change someone's mind, which is what materialism is. Yes. Fuck that. Nazis deserve to die. I know, man. I know. You're like an awesome LARPer. I know. But we're talking about something that's larger than that. Okay? Insane take. This pacifist stance screams I live in a bubble. Okay. How do people miss the point so fucking hard? I don't understand, especially long-term community subs. I get it, dude. You're epic. You're based. Okay. You're epically based. You are the most based. You are the most like Nazi punching guy out here. Okay. I'm giving you the most extreme example so you can understand where I'm coming from. Okay. Every single person deserves access to healthcare, access to housing. And when they do not get that, that economic volatility is what fosters other pieces of shit to turn around and radicalize people in the wrong direction. If you can't comprehend that, what the fuck are you doing here? Okay? There's no understanding or common ground or uniting with Nazis. No, I'm not saying find common ground with the Nazis, man. What the fuck? This is entirely removed from how you personally deal with this shit, okay? That's not what we're talking about. That's not the point at all. Medicare for all is not Medicare for everybody that I agree with, okay? Medicare for all is Medicare for all. If you understand that everyone's fucking politics comes from their social conditioning, and if you understand that our social conditioning is a product of our material conditions, then you understand material restitution is what will eradicate big chunks of people who become white supremacists, fascists, okay? That's it. Chat is so uneducated, they aren't even listening to your points and getting mad at a straw man. I know. I don't think money has ever made someone less racist. That's not what I'm talking about. You're, again, misunderstanding what I'm stating here. Your material conditions are not just how much money is in your pocket. That is incredibly reductive. It's access to amenities, okay? And it's not like in other countries where they have better social safety nets. They don't, where, you know, they don't have Nazis or whatever. Of course they do. They have them in Germany, AFD, right? Education is a component. Workers' rights are another component. Not being fearful of where your next meal ticket is coming from. Having more autonomy in your workplace. That's where a lot of this stems from. Anyway, the reason why I mentioned Nazis is because this is an extreme example. And I did that deliberately. I did that on purpose. Because I don't care that you hate that I use the most extreme example. That's why I talk about rehabilitation all the time. And whenever I talk about rehabilitation, chat goes, what about murderers? And obviously, there are people who currently, at least with our medical knowledge, cannot be rehabilitated. But when people talk about murderers, I say, yes, even murderers can be rehabilitated. And the focus should always be on rehabilitation and reintegration into society in our criminal justice system. But you cannot escape your social conditioning. You cannot escape what you have learned from your parents, what you've learned from every fucking thing that you've consumed leading up to this moment. It's very hard to change course, okay? So listen to what I'm talking about. Listen to my words. It's those extremes that people often use as an example to justify the normal parts of denying people health care, or the other people who are imprisoned for minor offenses for the rest of their fucking lives, okay? Stop doing this reactionary politics bullshit, okay? When we talk about an attitude, an unflinching attitude and support towards lowering recidivism through rehabilitative means, we talk about every single person. There's no like, well, this guy individually deserves it. Fuck that guy. You can't say that. Medicare for all means for all. It means right-wing Republicans too. You're really going to sit here and say if someone killed your mom and brother, you should get some time off? Come on, man. Justice is not vengeance. The goal of a criminal justice system is supposed to be about lowering the recidivism rate and reintegrating every single person back into society. Okay? Please try to understand what I am saying. Yeah, man, I get that. Okay. Even if I have an individual weak moment where I personally believe, like, fuck this guy, you know, I'm going to be hyper personal and hyper specific. If someone murders my parents, I want to fucking kill them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. That's not how systems work. Okay? That's not. That's why they don't put victims' families in the fucking jury. Even in our currently fundamentally flawed criminal justice system, we don't do that, right? Every single fucking time I bring this up, someone has to be like, what if someone killed your mom? It's like, I get it. Okay? But the reason why people feel this way, and so many people feel this way, especially so, is because they're American. And America is very draconian. Okay? Americans love operating off of the Hammurabi code, you know, an eye for an eye. Forgetting the second part of that, which is that, you know, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Reactionary as fuck. And it's silly. I'm not in the business of like no accountability, clearly. I want CEOs and the real villains of society, the wage stealers, CEOs, the regulators that don't actually do their fucking job, to be punished, to go to prison even. Okay? That does not mean that I don't think that they have the capacity. They have the capacity to change. My goal is not for them to suffer and feel bad. It might make me feel a little good to think about a bad person suffering and feeling bad. But my goal, and I hope you understand that as well, and that this should be your goal as well, is to make sure that they become better people. Okay? And there's nothing that shows that this attitude has failed, especially in America, than the way that our current criminal justice system works. I mean, you can extrapolate larger concepts by just looking at a simple difference between here in the United States of America, where we have the highest recidivism rate and the highest incarcerated population on the fucking planet, and I believe the highest prisoner per capita population as well, okay, in comparison to a place like Norway, where they at least have better rehabilitation measures. We house 25% of the entire world's prisoner population. Okay? The United States population overall is 4% of the entire world population. So think about that. Why is it that other places have better integration measures? Why is it that in other countries people actually do horrible things, right? And then can actually still reintegrate into society? Your criminal justice system works when someone who has done a crime never does it again. Your criminal justice system does not work if someone does a crime and is mistreated, okay, in the prison population when they become a convict, okay, and when they get out, they have no job opportunities, so they return to crime again. That's a failure. An abject failure. Because they have less diversity and racism? That's not true. What the fuck? That's literally a... You're talking about like cultural hegemony, and that is an inherently right-wing argument, for the record. That's literally a Ben Shapiro talking point. That's a Nazi talking point as well. Nothing shows that it works. Lol, rehab, Andrew Tate. I get it. Yeah, no, totally. Do you believe it's possible to change America's minds on this within our lifetime? No, but it won't stop me from doing it. It won't stop me from trying. Anyway. I think decarceration is a complex subject because there are a lot of crimes that can be solved by generational healing and material conditions / policy by government. But then you see people who kick random innocent people on the street for no reason, and you question if solving the root cause of crime would have prevented them from doing that. I never said that that is the case, by the way. I always mention that there are currently, with our medical knowledge, incurable antisocial personality disorder related crimes. Okay? Motherfuckers will say, I'm being ableist or whatever, okay? But that's the reality. There are still going to always be psychos, sociopathic criminals, serial killers, okay? As it stands, we don't have a good way of, we don't have a good way of curing or treating it, okay? That's just the truth. But those are edge cases. Those are not like the norm. That's not the commonplace thing that's happening, right? The overwhelming majority of people that are doing any kind of crime, even violent ones, I would say, are doing it as a consequence of their material conditions. There are still people who will do it regardless, and that is the reason why we still need some mechanism that that prevents them, or at least creates a sense of law and order. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. Like, I'm not in favor of like full abolition of the police or anything like that. You know, I'm not saying that like prisons are completely obsolete. It's just that our understanding of the criminal justice system currently is a vindictive one. And the U.S. prison system treats everybody like Ted Bundy. Exactly. Anyway.
As soon as we got out of that car, the smell came back to us right away. Instant headache. Now, I'm 65 years old, a diabetic, AFib heart disease, everything. Now, did you shorten my life now? I want to retire and enjoy it. How are we going to enjoy it? You burned me. We were going to sell our house. Our value went poof. You know, do I mow the grass? Can I plant tomatoes next summer? What can I do? I'm afraid to. You know, and it's in the air. Every day I cough. A little cough here, a little cough there. I've never had that. You know, I got rashes on my cheeks and all of my arms from from the derailment. I don't call it a derailment. I call it a disaster. It's Norfolk's disaster, not a train derailment. I'm an honest. I shoot from the hip, just like the governor just told us. I tell you the truth. You seem like a family man, a great guy and all, but you know what? Like I said, your company has to do something.
How are you going to make it up to him, Mr. Shaw? How are you going to make it up to Jim Stewart and all the other families?
Jim, thank you for those comments. I hear you. I'm terribly sorry that this has happened to this community. What I can do and what I will do is make it right. We're going to get the cleanup right. We're going to reimburse the citizens. We're going to invest in the long-term health of this community. I'm going to see this through, and we're going to be here. And we're going to work with these community leaders to help it thrive. I think you heard the mayor talk about, making this community even better. And that's what I'm picking up.
It's kind of
as
shit
I'm
right
talking
now.
to community leaders and citizens. We're looking for ideas from the community on where we can help and things that we can do.
Well, would you be willing to buy
That's why
their
we have
houses?
somebody.
Will you buy them out of their houses at the property value so Jim can retire? That's making it right? Step up.
We're gonna. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I interrupted you.
You're good.
Jim wants to hear your answer.
We're going to do what's right for this community.
Well, that's
my
what's right.
commitment.
But did your derailment, did it change me now? It's made me an angry man. I'm a Christian. I love the Lord. But you've made me angry. And I don't want to be like that. I want you to respect me like I respect you right now. And like I said, I lost everything now. I worked hard. I'm still working. I'm my 44th year at my job. I wanted to get out. Now I'm just stuck.
Wait, that's it? Identical?
Hello, I'm Tony Hayward, President and CEO of BP. Our accidental drilling spill again in the Gulf is a tragedy that should have never happened. And to all those affected, I want to say, we are deeply sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. We're sorry. Sorry. We're sorry. I'm deeply sorry. Sorry.
I mean, yeah. Look at this fucking dipshit centrist.
First tweet.
Oh, by the way, Pete Buttigieg is now on the ground. I repeat, La Rata has entered the fold. He is now in East Palestine, Ohio. Looking like he's doing stuff. He's got the vest on. This is what it looks like when accountability journalism shames the cabinet secretary into having to show up and do his job. Which, by the way, big dub for Davis Sirota. Straight up. The lever definitely did a really good fucking job with this. They were up his fucking asshole the entire time. Oh, my Lord. Let's take a look. Pete Buttigieg says he should have tweeted about East Palestine derailment sooner. Oh, God. Oh, man.
Sent your first tweet expressing concern for the residents of East Palestine a week and a half after the accident happened.
I do love seeing people demand answers in the same way that, like, I ask for answers. You know what I mean? I like that. Like, I love seeing it. I love people recognizing the situation.
In hindsight, was that waiting too long to express anything hours after you had addressed the makeup of work crews on highway construction projects just that very day?
The answer to your question is yes. I felt strongly about this and could have expressed that sooner. Again, I was taking pains to respect the role that I have and the role that I don't have, but that should not have stopped me from weighing in about how I felt about what was happening to this community.
Send your first tweet.
Statement contains just about every trope of the condescending midwit liberal centrist journals I've come to expect. Adam Wren is like basically doing PR for Buttigieg, by the way. Adam Wren is Pete Buttigieg's man inside of Politico. Those of you who don't know. He literally got a scoop before anyone else because he personally was talking about how David Sirota is a fucking asshole. When David Sirota was writing about, Pete Buttigieg's incompetence, okay? So just know that. Anyway, he's a big suck up. It is exceedingly rare for a transportation secretary to visit the site of a train derailment, especially one that resulted in no fatalities. Even though this crash has resulted in unusually heavy national media attention, partly driven by the televised image of the accident's toxic black plume and residents' anger over the safety of their air and water. About 1,000 train derailments occur each year, according to federal data. I love that. Offers a bunch of quantitative data, no fatalities, 1,000 train derailments per year when the issue is just as much qualitative. Condescending actually tone, pretending to be public is mad about a secondary issue, televised images, and not the thing itself. Yeah. I mean, by the way, the funniest part about it is that is true. Like, everything they're saying is true. But, like, that just shows that the situation is even more fucked than you'd think. Do you understand? Like, your attitude shouldn't be, situation is actually way worse. Because, like, I acknowledge all that. If you send me the Buttigieg world sounds like the worst theme park ever one more time, I'm going to put you on the spaceship. That's what I was talking about when I said that's your shit that's your shit link of the day. Why? You were doing so well, Megaphonics. Why? Why? You literally posted the dub and you were posting that L beforehand, and I just gave you at least the decency of not fucking calling you out. And then you get so hyped up. You're like, oh, man, we did it. Like, I got one dub link. So now it's back to the fucking same old bullshit. Anyway. Why are all these trains exploding now? I'm continuing to get rid of costly and unnecessary regulations. Much work left to do, but effect will be great. Business and jobs will grow. Trump rolls back train braking rule meant to keep oil tankers from exploding near communities. An Obama rule to require new brakes to reduce the risk of oil train derailments causing explosions and spilling gas was reversed by Trump. It's like a meme. It's almost like a joke to just like flex this shit. Did he actually post this? Did he post a Fortune article with that take? No, right? No, he didn't post the Fortune article. The Fortune article gives more clarity to what he's talking about, I assume. But he definitely, I'm sure he tweeted this. He flexed regularly about how he was deregulating every sector. Oh, anyway.